tale as old as time. The good old road cyclist versus mountain biker. Who is a superior cyclist? Which discipline is more fun? Are you even allowed to do both? All of these questions we're going to answer in today's video. So let's hop into it. So before we jump headfirst into answering these questions, let me give you some background to myself as a cyclist. I grew up in a small town called Petaluma here in Northern California. I tell you this because Petaluma is conveniently located roughly 20 minutes from the birthplace of mountain biking. Mountain biking is said to have started on Mount Tamalpais in Marin County. In the late 1960s and early 1970s, a group of teenagers known as the Larkspur Canyon Gang rode 1930s to 1940s vintage shingle spin balloon tires on Mount Tamalpais and throughout Baltimore Canyon. This was known as the birth of mountain biking. So in high school, like many kids here in Northern California, I dipped my toe into the mountain bike scene. On the weekends, my friends and I would take our downhill mountain bikes all over the greater Bay Area looking for the next new trail we could attempt to huck ourselves down. However, I must preface this kind of mountain biking I did growing up was mainly downhill focused. We would avoid climbing like the plague. The idea of this biking was definitely not fitness focused. It was more just a hobby to enjoy with friends. I was also usually the very last one down the hill, but that's besides the point. Now, within mountain biking, there are many different disciplines, ranging from free riding, which is what you see at the Red Bull Rampage, all the way to cross-country mountain biking, which is what you see Matthew Van Der Poel do when he's racing on knobby tires. There are also many different disciplines in between, like slopestyle, enduro, downhill, speed and style, and many, many more. Today, however, we are going to lean more towards the cross-country side of mountain biking. For those of you that don't know, I am definitely as far on the road bike side of the spectrum as you can get. I heavily focus on training, Strava KOMs, and sprinting for town limit signs. I've ridden a mountain bike maybe a handful of times since the good old days in high school. However, recently I was offered the opportunity to borrow this mountain bike for a couple months to help cross-train for the upcoming road cycling race season. This bike is a Pivot Trail 429. It has 130 millimeters of travel in the front and 120 millimeters of travel in the back. Travel refers to the amount that the shock can go up and down on the respective stanchions. This bike is ready to rip and is a perfect candidate to help us answer the questions from the intro. Who is a superior cyclist, a mountain biker or a road biker? Which discipline is more fun? And can you do both? So I took this bike out for its maiden voyage and met up with some of my local training partners, Taj and Andrew. Both of them are road cycling oriented, but also do have mountain bikes to help train throughout the year. This basically answers the third question. Can you do both? But it brought up another question in my head. Why would you do both?
I mainly ride road bikes. Mountain bikes for fun, but the technicality of the mountain bikes really translates into the road and really improves the skill on the road.
Is it fun to switch it up too?
Oh, yeah.
After my experience I had today out on the trails, I have to agree with what Andrew said. It is quite fun to switch it up and ride on the dirt. Speaking of fun, this leads us into the next question. Which discipline is more fun?
Which one's more fun? Overall? Like with the boys? I like getting bonked with the boys on the road bikes because you're just like, you're out there, you know you're deep, and it's like a mission to get back every time. But mountain biking with the boys is also fun. You know, you start pushing each other around a little bit, getting sketchy on the downhills, and normally you're not too far from home, which is good. But sometimes it's a little terrifying, you know, when you start like really mobbing and there's rocks and stuff. Not my thing. But I don't know which one. They're both fun. I don't know.
And as Taj said in a roundabout way, I totally agree. There's a different kind of fun to each one of these disciplines, and each has its own time and its place. I really enjoyed the ride that we did today on the mountain bike. However, I really struggled to hit some technical climbs.
One-handed. We bond.
But that's a whole nother story. I think there are pros and cons to each discipline. Some pros I experienced firsthand today were that mountain biking in the rain is way more fun than road biking in the rain, and I will stand by that. Yes, this is a subjective take, but you're more than welcome to argue with me down in the comments. I say this because there's truly something fun about messing around the mud on a mountain bike, and you are also usually less cold when it comes to a rainy and cold day. This is because you are typically going at a slower rate of speed than on the road bike, therefore having less wind chill, and you're also more covered in the trees. So for a muddy experience like we had today, I was very pleased to be enjoying it on the mountain bike rather than suffering and eating road spray the whole day on the road bike. Another pro I learned today is mountain biking is much more of a full body workout. You get a significant arm pump from maneuvering your way down technical descents, and you can also feel your calves burning from staying so engaged on the pedals, dodging and hopping off roots and rocks all day. Now, there definitely are some cons to mountain biking if you're looking at the perspective of a road cyclist like myself trying something new. The first con being training stimulus. I noticed today that you were pedaling much less throughout the duration of the ride, meaning the 3-hour ride that we did today, you were probably coasting for about 30 to 40% of it, whereas on the road, I feel like that number is closer to 15 to 20%. Of course, this is all dependent on the exact ride you're doing, but this is just a generalization. Another con that again is a little bit more subjective is that it is slower. You cover less distance and more time. I personally like to go fast and cover as much distance as possible. Usually keeps my brain a little bit more stimulated, and again, that is a totally subjective take, but that's just how it works for me. Finally, the biggest con I see with mountain biking is it can be very dependent on where you live. I mean, the same can be said about road cycling. Some places have better roads than other, but for the most part, there are roads right outside your front door. The same can't be said about mountain biking. Sometimes you may have to drive quite a far away to get to a trailhead. Luckily for us, we live in Northern California where we have amazing roads right out our door, and we can also ride from our houses to the trailhead. So that begs the final question. Which one is better? Well, before we answer that, let's answer one of our other final questions. Who is a better cyclist, a pure mountain biker or a pure road biker?
I think a road biker makes a better road cyclist, and a mountain biker makes a better mountain bike cyclist.
Well put. Dude, this is actually sick up here, honestly. Road cycling hasn't ever taken me to a place like this, and this is pretty cool.
Now, even though Taj's answer is kind of silly, I think there is some truth in there. Road bikers are better at road biking, and mountain bikers are better at mountain biking. I think each discipline has its own place. I think that's the moral of the story. I know after my experience today, I will definitely be mixing in some more mountain biking into my weekly training, and I urge you pure mountain bikers to hop on a road bike and see how you like it, and I urge you pure road bikers to hop on a mountain bike and see how you like it. There are definitely benefits to doing both, and like I said, there is definitely a place for each discipline within your training schedule, and I think there are real benefits to doing both. And I also think they are equally quote-unquote better in their own right. Now, this video was definitely narrated from a road cycling perspective, taking on mountain biking, being a road biker myself. I wanted to explore the option of mountain biking. However, I am happy to make another video looking at road cycling through the eyes of a mountain biker. Comment down below if you think that is something you want to watch, and I'd be happy to make a video about it. Thank you guys so much for all the support as always. I really, really appreciate it. If you wouldn't mind subscribing, it'd go a long way. We're closing in on 10K. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.